Hello children, welcome to Social Studies digital class. Children, do you remember what we have discussed in the previous class? Yes, we have discussed about the food security in our country. We have discussed about the Bengal famine which occurred during pre-independent period, and we have also discussed about the conditions of the people due to lack of food. So, in today's class, discuss about the next concepts, that is access to food and how the government is trying to bring food security in our country. So, let us proceed with what we have discussed in the previous class. Children, in the previous class, we have discussed about the conditions of the people during Bengal famine, the strategies of government to bring food security in the country, availability of food grains and other food items. In this class, we shall discuss about access to food, public distribution system, that is PDS, ICDS, integrated child development scheme and also midday meal scheme. We shall also discuss about nutritional status of the people in India. So, let us proceed towards the lesson. Actually, what is the meaning of access to food? Access to food in the sense, it is not just sufficient for the governments to produce the food. Food is produced in the northern plains, food is produced in the coastal regions, isn't it? But it is not sufficient, only the production is expanded with various methods such as HYV seeds and even expansion of the irrigation system. With all those things, the food production is being done by the government. But it is also important whether the food is reaching to all the people or not. So, what is access to food? Access to food is whether the food is available to the poorest of the poor people also, even all through the year and all the 3 times per day, which is called as the access to food. So, is everyone able to access the minimum food requirement? So, let us try and understand it. But before that, let us see why do we need food. Did you ever get a question? We eat the food every day. So many delicious dishes we eat, isn't it? But why we eat the food is to gain energy. We need food so that the food gets burnt in our body and produces heat. And this is measured in terms of calories. And this helps us to do our work. We need food to do the work. If we don't eat, what happens? Suppose if you don't take your morning breakfast and even if you don't take your afternoon lunch also, how would you feel? You will start feeling very weak and you will feel like you are not able to do any work. Imagine about the laborers' children who does a lot of hard work. If such people doesn't eat the food, what happens? They will feel so weak that they will not be able to work. So, that is why we need the food. So, if we eat less and eat less nutritious food also, the calorie intake of our body becomes less and hence we may find it difficult to work or our health starts getting deteriorated. What is health starts getting deteriorated? In the sense that we not just become weak but also various diseases starts attacking on our body and we easily get into different diseases, we suffer with different diseases. So, food plays an important role in our lives. So, children, how much food one should take? It is also an important question to be understood. So, can you tell this? So, a standard of 2100 kilocalories per day in urban areas and 2400 kilocalories in rural areas is recommended food intake per day. So, standard of 2100 in the urban and 2400 kilocalories in the rural. Why is there difference? The difference is because the rural people do a lot of hard work in their fields, and even as laborers, agricultural laborers, they do a lot of hard work. So they need more kilocalories than the people who are living in the urban regions. The urban regions need people living in the urban regions need less kilocalories because they do the office work or clerical work. So they don't need much of the kilocalories when compared to the rural people who need a lot of kilocalories, so that they can upstand with the work. So what is the situation, actual situation? Those what we have discussed are the standards. So what is the actual situation in our country? So the national average calorie levels in both rural and urban areas are below than the needed calorie requirements. So the well of consume food that goes beyond the recommended calorie, beyond the requirements. So imagine the poor people are eating less than what is required, whereas the urban people, they are taking more food than it is required. So they are getting obese, a lot of fat in their bodies, and even such people are also not able to work. So for a large population, the food intake is inadequate to provide the calorie required. So how much is the percentage? That is about 80% of people in India consume calorie intake which is less than the calorie standard. So this is a huge number, remember, isn't it? Yes. So let us go for the graph. Observe this graph, children. So calorie intake per person in rural area. On the x-axis, the society of the rural area is divided, that is those who are at the bottom quarter, and the second quarter is the lower middle class people, and the third quarter is the upper middle class people, and the top quarter are the rich people. And here on the y-axis the calories are given. So bottom quarter, that is bottom 25% people in the rural India. Remember, this is we are talking about the rural or the village area. So what is the standard there? It is 2400 is the calorie standard, whereas the people, poorest of the poor people, they consume only 1624 kilocalories, that is 1624 kilocalories only, just more than half, that's it. Then second quarter, if you observe the second quarter, here the low income group people, lower middle class people, they consume the kilocalorie, that is 1900 kilocalories only, whereas the standard, if we see, it is also less than the standard. Then here the third quarter, they consume the kilocalories 2143. This is for upper middle class people, those also consume less kilocalories when compared to the standard. Whereas the top quarter, that is the rich people, top 25%, they consume kilocalories more than the standard, that is 2521. So what do you understand? That nearly 75% of the rural areas doesn't consume the required nutritional food, isn't it? And the top quarter people, that is rich class, they consume more than the required quantity. So I hope this you have understood, children. So let us go for the next. What is the reason for this? Why do you think that they consume, the rural people consume less kilocalories? What is the reason for this? The reason is that they have less purchasing power, that they lack purchasing power. What is purchasing power? The ability to buy the food products is called as, or any other product, it is called as purchasing power. So these all people, 75% people lack the purchasing power, so they don't consume the food items, and they don't purchase the food items, and they don't consume it also. So people don't have adequate incomes to buy the food. Children, what do you think is the main reason why the people don't consume required nutritional food? What is the reason? The reason is that they lack purchasing power. What is purchasing power, children? Purchasing power is nothing but they don't have money to purchase the food items or any other item, and they don't have the adequate incomes in their pockets. They don't have money in their pockets. So that is the reason they don't purchase and they don't consume the food items. So they lack the nutritional food items in their diet. Children, do you know what can be the reason for this? So why don't they have adequate incomes? The reason is that they are poor. Poverty is one of the reasons, and the second reason is unemployment, and another reason is lack of public facilities. So most of the people are poor. They don't have money and they don't have proper facilities, or there is no income in their hands, and so they are poor and they don't have money and they cannot go for purchasing the food items. At the same time, most of them are unemployed. What is unemployment? Unemployment is nothing but they don't have proper jobs, or most of them are underemployed also. They do some work but their income is not sufficient so that the survival is possible. And even there are lack of public facilities, the support from the side of the government. So these are all the various reasons why the people lack the purchasing power and they don't consume the nutritional diet. So children, what is the role of government in providing access to food to people? So what's the role of the government? What the government is doing to provide the people so that they can have access to the food, so that the food is reachable to them. So what is the role of the government in this? Let us discuss. Children, the government has a very good scheme which is called as PDS, or Public Distribution System. So what is that? That you might have observed near your homes, the ration shops. So what is done in the ration shops? To the poorest of the poor, to the poor people, the food is supplied to them and at a cost lesser than in the market price. The prices of the products in the ration shop, the most essential commodities, the price is lesser when compared to the market prices. So this is one of the most important scheme of the government. Children, studies indicate that the southern states of India has a good record in public distribution system, like Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, combined Andhra. The people have more access to food through the public distribution system when compared to the northern states such as Bihar, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. These are the states that have followed the universal PDS system, which means that low cost food grains would be available to all. The south states, the southern states, they have followed the universal food grain supply system, that is universal PDS system. Children, even among the poor, very poor people have been identified and they have been given different entitlements so that better facilities to access to food could be done. Means the food should be reachable, guaranteed food to those people and more than the common poor people. For example, here Antyodaya card holders are there who are entitled to get 35 kgs of food grains, rice and wheat per month per family. Why this is done? Because some families will be poorer than the poor people. They don't have any income sources. There may be the old age people or the destitute women. For such families, the Antyodaya card system has been implemented in these states of south. Now let us study what is buffer stock. Children, the stock of food grains, mainly wheat and rice, procured and maintained by government through Food Corporation of India, which is called as FCI also, which is called as buffer stock. Means some stock of the food grain at the time of production every year the government will purchase from the farmers and store it in the stocks in FCI godowns. Why this is done? So that it can use it for the in the emergency situations and even for the welfare schemes such as PDS and midday meal schemes. So, those stocks which are kept with the government, they are called as buffer stocks. Now, let us study about the next which is called as minimum support price. What is minimum support price? The FCI purchases wheat and rice from the farmers in states where there is surplus production. The farmers are paid a pre-announced price for their crops which is called as minimum support price. So, what does the government do? The government will purchase the food grains, surplus food grains means more than the required amount for the farmers, that it will purchase, extra food grains it will purchase from the farmers. At what time the deal is fixed? At the time before the production takes place, the government approaches to the farmers and it will fix a certain price, and that price on which the government will be willing to purchase it from the farmers, and this price is will not be a loss to the farmers at all. It will be giving profitability to the farmers. So, such a price which is fixed by the government so that the farmer doesn't go into the losses, that is called as minimum support price, and this price is fixed. The rates of the food grains that are to be purchased by the government from the farmers, those are fixed at the time of production prior to actual production comes out. Okay, so such a price is called as minimum support price, and what is the ideology behind this scheme is that the farmer should not be at a loss at all. So, minimum support price is fixed. Children, see, what is done is the farmers sell their food grains through minimum support price to the government. Okay, and the government will purchase from the farmers by paying, even if the price of the food grain is not that much, but still the government pays to the farmers so that the farmer will not be in the loss. And what the government will do with that stock, what it has purchased, it will send most of the stock to the fair price shops. What are fair price shops? They are the ration shops. And what does it do? It will, through the PDS system, stock of the food grains is supplied to the poor people and at a much lesser price than when compared to the market price. So, here the government is supporting to the farmers by fixing the MSP, and at the same time it is also providing the food grains to the poor people at a rate which is lesser than the market price, and it is supporting to the poor people. So, this is how the government does its welfare schemes so that nobody will be at a loss and people should survive happily with proper food security. So, let us go for the next one. What is National Food Security Act? So, National Food Security Act is in the year 2013. A new law came out which is called as National Food Security Act to legalize people's right to food. So, you must be remembering in your previous classes, like in your 6th, 7th or 8th classes, there were fundamental rights. What are fundamental rights? Such as right to freedom, right to religious freedom, isn't it? Similarly, another right also has come into existence in the year 2013, which is called as right to food. Means all the citizens have the right to get the food at the least possible prices and nobody should remain hungry at any cost. So, that is what is called as right to food. It applies to the approximately 2/3 of the total population of our country, India. Children, as per this law, every person of low income families is entitled to 5 kgs of food grains per month at subsidized rates. Means 5 kg per head. If there are 4 members, 4 members will get 5 kgs of food. In the sense, 4 into 5, 20 kgs of food per month. Among poor families, the poorest ones are entitled to 35 kgs of food grains. As those who are poorest of the poor, they will get 35 kgs of food grains. For a few years, the central government will supply rice or wheat, whatever is the staple food, until at a price of rupees 3, rupees 2 and rupees 1 only. So, under this law, if required, a maximum of 75% of people living in the rural areas and 50% of the urban population to have the right to buy the food grains from public distribution system. Children, if the government is not able to give them the food grains, so what is the other option the government has is that it will give them the cash to the people to buy the food grains from outside. Children, this law also envisages providing free cooked meals to the pregnant women, lactating mothers, children aged 1 to 6 years coming to Anganwadis, and midday meals for children aged between 6 to 14 years in the schools. So, it is providing the food to the pregnant women, to the lactating women, those who provide the food, those who feed the children, small children, newborn ones. To such children, it will be providing food. To such mothers, it will be providing food. And the children aged between 1 to 6 years who go to Anganwadis to play, to learn and even to take their meals. And the midday meals scheme you must be all aware of, because most of all the children in Telangana schools, they have been taking their midday meals in the government schools, that is between the age of 6 to 14 years. While Indian Parliament enacts various such laws such as National Food Security Act and implements the schemes such as Integrated Child Development Scheme ICDS in the recent times. So, the Indian judiciary has become proactive in ensuring food organizations. The Supreme Court directs all the state governments and central governments to provide midday meals to all the young children studying in the schools. So, what is midday meal scheme? So, you all must be knowing about it. So, about 14 crore children all over India are studying in the schools, eat the midday meals every day. Today, this is the situation today. The court set up monitoring mechanism and provided suggestions for better implementation, such as it should be locally produced, the food should be locally produced, it should be hygienic. So, good food should be produced and nutritious and with varied menus for every day of the week, such as there should be the leafy vegetables, there should be the pulses, there should be also the eggs to be provided to the children. So, all these things are taken care of, so that good food, nutritious food, and the court also ruled that the preference should be given to Dalit cooks who should go for cooking for the midday meal scheme, widows and destitute women, those who are not having any income sources. Children, this is the largest school feeding program in the entire world, and it is also that the court orders to collect the money by imposing whatever the revenues that are required for implementing the midday meal scheme. They have to collect the taxes or impose the taxes on the people so that they can get the revenues, so that they can implement this prestigious program of midday meal scheme all over India. Children, now let us go for the next concept about the nutritional status. So, till now we have discussed that the government is arranging the food through the PDS systems, isn't it? And even we have discussed that there are prestigious schemes such as the midday meal scheme and also the ICDS. Under ICDS program, various schemes have been being implemented. But what is the actual result? How is the nutritional status of the people of our country, especially the children? How is the nutritional status, whether they are able to get the nutritional food and whether they are able to enjoy better health or not? Let us study. So, we need food to get energy, grow and capacity to remain healthy and fight illness. The food we eat, is classified as carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins and minerals. We get the proteins from the dal, carbohydrates from rice and wheat, and vitamins from the fruits and minerals from the leafy vegetables. So, a survey was conducted by NIN, that is National Institute of Nutrition, which is located at Hyderabad. So, across many states this survey was conducted and it has confirmed that the alarming situation of the nutrition in the entire country. So, though the schemes are being implemented, but the situation is alarming. So, to examine the nutritional status of children, the simple means or measurements are taken, that is height and weight. So, what does NIN survey indicate? So, out of 7,000 children in the age group of 1 to 5 years examined in the survey from many states in the country. So, out of them 45% of the children are underweight. So, what does the report says about this? The overall prevalence of underweight was about 45%. It was significantly higher among the age group of 3 to 5 year children when compared to 1 to 3 year children. Means more underweightedness lies among the children who are at the age group of 3 to 5 years when compared to the age group children that are between 1 to 3 years. Children, the prevalence of this underweightedness was found more in the states, more than 55% in the states of Gujarat, 58%, Madhya Pradesh 56.9%, Uttar Pradesh 53.2%, and it is found lowest in the state of Kerala, which shows the development as well as progress in the country. It is only 24%, and the overall prevalence of severe underweight was about 16% in the entire nation. So, the nutritional status among the, so till now we have discussed about the children's nutritional status. So, what about the young men and women? So, the nutritional status of the young men and women is measured using BMI, body mass index. BMI is equal to weight in kgs by height in meter square. So, the prevalence of chronic energy deficiency among men was about 35%, and overweight, obese men were also there who were 10%. About 35% of adult women had chronic energy deficiency and 14% were overweight or obese. The prevalence of chronic energy deficiency was highest in the states of Odisha, Gujarat and Uttar Pradesh, followed by 33 to 38% in Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and West Bengal. Children, how is this related to the food security? So, as we have discussed about the various schemes, the implementation of the various schemes, and we have also discussed the nutritional status of the men and women as well as children. Where is the loophole? What is the problem? Why when the food is provided and the accessibility of the food is done till the food is reached to the reach to the people's homes, but why still people lack in the nutritional status? Where is the problem? So, and how is this related to the food security? So, a doctor in Chhattisgarh running his own community health program where streams of underweight patients come every day, and which explains, this incident explains the link. So, what he has found is that PDS grains of 35 kg per month for a family of 5 lasted only 11 days. For the rest of the month, they have to depend upon the market for their own produce. Children, in this situation, the government has to take the steps. So that what steps the government should take, so that the PDS system or whatever the welfare schemes are there, they should be sufficiently provided to all the people, as well as the adults can be increased, so that they gain the energy, as well as they can also become stronger and work better. When people of that country are stronger, and how they can become strong is that through proper welfare schemes that are being implemented all over the country, and at the same time they take nutritional food and they can gain energy, work more and work for the development of the nation. Children, I hope you have got my point. So with this we have come to the end of the class. Let us go for the evaluation part. So children, read the textbook carefully and try to answer the following questions. The first one is, how is PDS related to food security of the people in the country? The second question is, write about the survey conducted by National Institute of Nutrition. The third one is, what is buffer stock and minimum support price? The fourth question is, locate the following places in the map of India. The first one, Karnataka, Odisha, Gujarat, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Bihar and Andhra Pradesh. So children, we have come to the end of the class now, and I hope that you have understood the lesson in a clear way. Try to read the textbooks carefully, line by line, and also go through the worksheets. For better understanding of the concepts, solve the worksheets. Please visit the official site of SIET for the worksheets. Children, meet you in the next class. Until then, thank you.